Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this past week's trades and the weekly recap. Before I get into the recap, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section of my social media accounts. Also, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already and like the video. These videos take a long time to make. This is how you learn. This is how you understand the process. So that's why the recaps are very, very important. So make sure you just take notes and pay attention. And last week, I finished with 16 wins and 5 losses for a win rate of 76.19%. Not that great. I try to at least expect to get at least 85% plus every week. I don't think I've even got over 80% once this month so far. I don't know why, but the market has been very, very tough to get a grip on. The market it's a chase and chop market the last few weeks. The market just goes in one direction and just keeps raging in that direction nonstop, and then it just chops, or it just chops in a small range, or anytime it makes a U-shaped pattern, which usually is a pretty good indicator of a reversal, it just it ends up keeps going, and it's been a crazy few weeks. So that's probably one of the reasons why I've been struggling a little bit lately. But it is what it is. You just got to adapt to the market conditions, and I try to select the plays a little bit better. Try to pick the right plays, because I don't like taking losses regardless. But it is what it is. So now, I know yesterday was Christmas. I hope everybody had a nice Christmas if you celebrate. I know not everybody celebrates Christmas, but if you don't celebrate it, or you do, either or, hopefully you had a nice long weekend and just kick back and just rest and recoup from. Hopefully next week will be, actually you should say this week, because today's Monday after Christmas. So hopefully this week will be better. But anyways, we'll get into the trades. Trade ideas room on the 19th, I said pre-market Tesla calls over 158 and SPY calls over 385. Now I took SPX calls at 1021, 1019, right here, right there, 1021, right here apparently. So what I ended up doing was, I probably should have gotten it down here, but I mean, every time SPY goes in a direction, it just keeps going. Like right here, it dropped, and it starts to look like it's gonna pop, like right here. Then it gets slammed. It looks like it's gonna pop, gets slammed. It looks like it's gonna pop, gets slammed. I mean, just the market has been doing that. It's just it's very tough. So many fake outs. I mean, you could have got faked out here, here, and here. I know this is Friday, but I'm just pointing out something. The way the market's been, it's been very, very, very trappy. So I didn't grab it here. I probably should have, but I just didn't want this to be one of these right here. See how it did that? It dropped down. It started to look like it was going to pop and just drop. So I didn't take that there, but when it came up near higher day, that's why I grabbed the 38.55 calls at 8:30, and then went from 8:30 to 9:50. Then I ended up reloading at 8:40, and it just knifed and took a loss right there. I don't like starting Monday with a loss, but I just did. It is what it is. So let's see. The next play was another loss. I took 2 losses in a row. I just don't like starting out Monday with 2 losses. I took calls again at 12:08, which is right here. Same thing as over here. Did the same exact thing. It dropped, made a nice little I came underneath the 381, quickly got back up, and then when it got up over this 381.70 area, 75 area, that's where I ended up grabbing the 38.35 calls at 760, and it dumped. It didn't dump, but it dropped, and it popped back up, dropped, popped back up. Then it finally dumped right here, and then I just ended up cutting it. I had it at 760, and I dumped it at 490. This is just a kind of a nightmare. This 381 level was it was a pretty big level. I might see if I can go out to the 4-hour. No, maybe go to the daily. Yeah, see the 381 level right here. It's a pretty big area. Resistance, 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 support, resistance here. So it's a pretty big level. So I was looking at it from the point of view that not 10 minute, 1 hour. I was looking at it from the point of view that it dropped down and it held and it came back up, that we were going to get a bounce, and I just didn't. It just ended up making a descending triangle right here. Then at 10:33, 12:33, I took puts. I took puts right here. Oh, I took puts right there. Okay. Because the first time was what, 12:08, which is right here, where I thought was going to pop, and it didn't. It came back down, so I switched sides quickly. So I must have dumped it quickly right after this drop right here. That's probably where I stopped out. Then I switched to puts right here because there was break going on underneath 381. So I grabbed the 38.25 puts at 780, and it didn't drop. I just stayed into it. I ended up adding more at 12.58, which is right. 12.58 right here. No, right here. I grabbed more at $5, and I ended up averaging down. My new average was 640, and they went from 640 to 690. Then just chopped and chopped. I mean, I know it looks like, you look at it after the fact. The thing that most people traders do is they look and say, oh, look, I should have just held on. I should have done this. I should have done that. But you don't know what the market's going to do. I mean, at this point in time, we just didn't know if it was going to drop. It couldn't get below 381 and stay, but yet it wouldn't pop. But one thing I did notice, and I ended up grabbing puts at 130, is that this right here has been happening a lot, the 20 EMA. When the market starts chopping like it is right here, and it chops and brings down the 20 EMA to price, it's going to end up continuing in the direction it's going. So in this case, it's dropping and it's chopping, and the 20 EMA is getting dropped down to the price, and it's just going to be more continuation. So it kind of had a little bit of a mess trade in here. I tried to get the pop right here. I got puts right here that are going against me, but I ended up averaging down, what time did I get? The 12.58, which was right here. I probably bought close to the 381.50 area and sold into this drop because it's staying in this channel. And I also noticed that the 20 EMA was coming down. So when the 20 EMA came down more in the next few candles, that's where I ended up jumping into the 38.25 puts at 590. And they went from $5.90 to $12 plus. So that ended up being a big play. But I got to pay attention to this 20 EMA. Whenever price gets away from it and it starts chopping and bringing the moving average down to it, it's going to end up continuing in that direction 90% of the time. And the percentage is probably higher than 90% of the time. I mean, it's probably pretty close to 100%. But that doesn't mean when you see it chop and you see the 20 EMA getting bought to it, it doesn't mean go in heavy or go in with stupid size and do something stupid, because anything in the market can happen. I mean, that's just the way the market is. The market's just been kind of crazy lately, so nothing is ever certain in the market. So every time you start getting too comfortable, the market will give you a nice little gut punch. So, okay, with that said, now it's going to be obviously Monday. I had 3 wins and 2 losses. Doing a lot like starting the week with 2 losses. But Trader Days room on Tuesday, the 20th. SPY calls over 380.50, which is pre-market high. Well, I rounded up because it was pre-market high, so at 380.43. Round up to make it easier. I took puts at 942. First candle was green, then it came down, made new lower day of underneath the 379 area. That's where I grabbed the 37.90 puts at 860, and then went from 860 to 1170. So that was a nice little dump. Then it quickly came back up, so I switched to calls right when it broke higher day. I switched to the 38.20 calls at $10. I remember that I ended up I try to almost every single play, if I can see the play before it happens. I usually tell the room which strike I have loaded, and I remember this that I grabbed the 3820 calls thinking it was going to be around $8 or so when it went to higher day, but it just popped and I didn't have time to switch, so I had to end up buying it at $10. So and those 3820 calls went from $10 to $22.50, and if you held all the way through in that pop, I think that was news or something. I couldn't quite remember, but anyways, did good on those. Then I ended up grabbing calls again at 11:12, which is right here. Right here, the next candle right here. Not quite sure why I grabbed it here. I mean, I get pre-market support was right there, but when SPY has these big, large red candles, see back a few months ago or several months ago, whenever you had these massive, huge red candles or massive green candles, you could almost count almost all the time that when it had these massive red candles that they would retrace like 50% of the plays. And I used to play that strategy quite a bit because it happened so much. Then it just stopped happening. So that's why you need to stay adjusted with the market because the market's forever changing and stuff like that. So gotta hold on a second here. Okay, I had to check something out. Anyways, yeah, I was going to go over the candles being long and they'd retrace. They used to do that a lot, but they don't do that anymore. That's why you just need to adjust to the market conditions because it's always changing, and just gotta make note of what works and what doesn't, and that just is not working. So, but I did take 3830 calls at 11:12, which is right, like I said, right down here. I got the 3830 calls at $7.60, and they went from $7.60 to $9. Not quite sure why I grabbed it there, but then I ended up grabbing calls. Yeah, it probably retraced right in here. That's probably exactly what I did. I'm sure if I go down to the 1 minute, I might have to extend it another day to bring it down to the actual minute. What day? What was it? 11:12. It was right in this candles in here. Oh, I got the VWAP bounce. That's what I did right there. Now I remember this. I remember this play. Yeah, I dropped down, got the VWAP bounce. So yeah, that's why I went from $7.60 to $9 right there. Then it flushed through. Yeah, I remember that play. So let's see. Let me get back to the 19th. Maybe the 20th, right here. So yeah, that's what happened. I ended up getting I dropped, got a VWAP bounce, then it flushed down more. I didn't grab it down here. I grabbed the VWAP bounce, and then when it got through, I got the next calls at 11:51, which was 11:51. Got it right through VWAP. Yeah, right through VWAP. 3820 calls at 8:50, and they went from 8:50 to 15:30. Now, another thing that's been happening a lot lately is that, yeah, I got a bounce off VWAP, but what's been happening is VWAP used to be a good support and resistance for SPY, but for some reason lately, over the past couple weeks, anytime SPY is below the VWAP, it will rage right through it, and if it's above it, it will flush right through it. It used to be where you'd get a couple bounce, or at least chop a little bit above it, then it would bounce, or it would chop a little bit underneath it, then it would drop more. But lately, it just gets to VWAP. You might have a slight reaction, but it tends to just, if it's dropping, flushing through it. Or I've noticed even more lately, but when it drops and comes back up underneath it, and it gets to VWAP, it will just rage to VWAP, like VWAP is not even there. It's been doing that for the last couple of weeks. Just gotta make a mental note of that. That's why I've actually been buying calls through the VWAP because the push through VWAP has been very strong lately. Now, how long that will last, I have no idea, but you just got to take advantage of it while it's there, and that's what I ended up doing. So Tuesday, a lot better day, 4 wins, so I'm not going to complain about that. Then on Wednesday, it did not do that well. Trade ideas room, I said trade ideas room on the 21st, buy calls over 384. I think this is when put to call ratio was very, very high. 384 was the pre-market high. It dropped down and it popped. It dropped and it popped up. It got the pre-market high, but I didn't take it quite yet. I was about to. Then it dropped, and I think the reason why I didn't take it, I think there was news. I remember that I ended up taking puts. I took the 38.35 puts at 760, and there was news coming out. I think it was consumer sentiment or home sales or maybe both. So I grabbed it thinking it was going to be bad, and I shouldn't have done that. That's a loss I didn't need to take, and it ended up raging and popping. So took a loss on that. I should have bought the calls right here. I didn't. For some reason, I just stayed away from it. But I did buy puts again. Yeah, that one I had at 760, and I stopped out at, 420. So then I took puts at 1123, which was right here. You can see this little U shape right here. Right when it broke below the 386.20 area, that's where I grabbed the 38.75 puts at $8. 11.23. So no, I grabbed it right here. The pop back up. I ended up averaging down more. So I initially bought it at $8. It popped up, and I bought more at 5.30, making my new average at 6.65. Then it dumped, so they went from 6.65 to 10.30. So that was a nice little drop right there. It was kind of reckless to do that. I'm not quite sure why I averaged down right there. Just trying to think why I did that. I mean, I guess I just took the chance that it dropped, popped back up, and just averaged down, and it got the drop right here. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. There's no specific reason. 387. Well, I can see that right there. We get a pivot right here. Resistance right here to 388. So, yeah, I can see that a little bit, but it was not quite 387. So, just trying to figure out why I did that. I don't know, to be honest. So, but yeah, that's what ended up happening. $8 averaging down 665. Then they went from 665 to 1030 right there. I didn't even need to average down. See the 20 EMA right there? It dropped down. You could have got a nice little bounce right there. In fact, I think I did grab calls off the 20 EMA. I did. I grabbed 38.75 calls at 12.22, which is right here, right up the 20 EMA, the blue line. And they went from 840 to 890, what, 50 cents, not much of a play. Then I ended up reloading again at 12.53, which is right here in this candle. Now you can see right here, I grabbed the bounce right here. It dropped back, well, bounced here. You can see the wick. It bounced and came back down and bounced again. But once it got over this 386 area, I think it should say 386.10, I ended up reloading the 38.75 calls at 760, and it went from 760 to 1260. So I got a better play out of that. Then I grabbed calls at 151, which is right here. Dropped back down, held the 20 EMA, came back up. Once it broke over this 386.80 area, that's where I ended up grabbing that 38.80 calls at 660, and they went 660 to 1280 in that push right there. So we've got a nice little end of the day, mid-afternoon play on that. So another thing you have to keep an eye on too is the time of day. If you've been trading for a while, that the opening candle used to be so sketchy and trappy that I'd wait the 10 minutes out. Then there was a point in time where even waiting out the first 10 minutes, the you did the next 10-minute candle, the 10-minute candle after that would be very trappy too. So then you had to end up waiting that out, and you got to understand when plays work and when they don't, when they're trappy, when they don't. Certain times of the day been like very problematic, and the end of the day plays used to be so good, but now the last hour has been really tough to trade because it's been just chopping. So you just got to make a mental note when the best plays are, because it changes all the time. It could be the opening 10-minute candle. It could be the after the first minute candles form. It could be mid-morning. It could be midday. It could be mid-afternoon. It could be end of the day. It's just the market's weird like that, and just some parts of the day are just better than others, and it doesn't always stay. So it's not every mid-morning play is going to be the best. It will always change, and that's why I need to adapt and adapt to the conditions. So on the 22nd, trade ideas room, 22nd, I said SPY puts on a 382, which was rate, why'd I pick 382? I think I might have just went off from, I went off from this level in pre-market, or not pre-market, but the day before pre-market, because you can't really pick a level over here when it's dumping like this. But there was a 382 level right there in pre-market. I just showed it. So as soon as I broke it, I grabbed it. I grabbed the 38.20 puts at $9, and they went from $9 to $17.50. Then I tried to get the bounce, and this is what I've been talking about. Starts dumping. Looks like it's going to bounce, and it flushes more. But I grabbed calls at 12.34. As you can see right here, it looked like it was going to bounce. Forming a little bit of a consolidation, like it was going to have a bounce here. Then it flushed more. Then I grabbed it when I had this big red candle right here. I ended up seeing 12.34 right in here. I ended up grabbing it right here at 376. 376, you can see it's pre-market area that's important from the 12.19, so that's Monday pre-market. I thought it was going to bounce right there. It started to a little bit. I grabbed the 37.95 calls at 7.20, and then it flushed down more. I grabbed more at 12.34. So I grabbed initially at 12.23. Let me see. Let's bring it down to a smaller time frame so I can actually see where I actually grabbed it. 12.23. Oh, I grabbed it right in the middle of that red candle, that massive red candle. Yeah, that's what I ended up doing. Yeah, I grabbed it right in the middle of this massive red candle at 377. So it wasn't that I grabbed it. Not quite sure why I grabbed it. I mean, I could see 377 right here. But anyways, I grabbed it right in here. I think I was trying to go off that right there. 377, 376. It's $1 leeway. And remember, support and resistance is not an exact number. It's an area. So I kind of grabbed it right in here, right in this area. Then it dropped more, and I ended up averaging down. So I initially got it at the 37.95 calls at 720. Added more 450, thinking we were going to bounce down here at 12.34. No, right here. It didn't bounce. It just flushed more. I ended up stopping out at because my average at that point in time was 520. I stopped out at 290. I probably shouldn't have stopped out because it ended up raging. But I mean, SPY's just been doing this. It's been dropping. Looks like it's going to bounce a little bit and drops more. Looks like it's going to bounce. Drops more. Looks like it's going to bounce. Then it finally does. It's hard to time this, and I think I just kind of timed it too prematurely. I should have waited a little more, but Another loss too. That's the second loss I could have not not have taken. Then I ended up taking puts at 156. I don't know why I did that. I should not have done that. So I made two mistakes. I grabbed puts right here at 156. 37.65 puts at 690. Then I ended up averaging down at 225, which is right here off the 20 EMA, and it didn't really bounce. I mean, drop. So I ended up stopping out. So I had an average of 370, stopped out at 150. So I shouldn't have grabbed it here. I just made too many mistakes on this day. I shouldn't have tried to get the bounce here. I shouldn't have tried to short it here. I don't know why I did either one. Just a stupid move on my part, I guess. I could have been frustrated. I do get frustrated, so. And I just, yeah. I don't know. I really don't know why I made these two trades. I shouldn't have done either one. I should have stuck with the calls. And, yeah, it is what it is. Then I grabbed puts at what, 330, which is right here. I get this big green candle. When it broke below the 397.50 area, 40 area, that's where I grabbed puts. I grabbed the 38.20 puts at 630, and they went from 630 to 12.60 in that drop right there. So got a nice little play out of that, 100% move out of that. So definitely did like that a lot better, but I could have done things differently on this day. I took, 3 losses so far. I shouldn't have taken. I shouldn't have taken the news one right here. I shouldn't have taken this one or this one over here. So should have been calls. I should have took over here. But it's hard to know if this is actually going to pop or if it's going to keep dropping. So let's see on Thursday, 23rd. Thursday, oh no, Thursday the 23rd. Am I missing a day or something? Friday the 23rd. Yeah, I get all my days up. I've been saying the wrong days, I think, through the entire video. But anyways, 23rd is Friday. And I said SPY calls over 382, which is pre-market high, I guess, rounding down a little bit. I took calls at 10 o'clock, which is down here. Dropped down, popped up, a violent pop-up. Then it quickly came back down. But once it got, I think we had news on Friday. I don't remember what it was again, but I don't remember what the news was, but anyways, this was the day that I was having a blizzard, and I didn't want to trade much, so I only traded a few times and just kept it small. So, yeah, we had a drop here. We had a violent bounce, and it dropped again, and it popped up again. But once it got over the through VWAP, this is where I grabbed the 38.40 calls at $7, and they went from $7 to $11 in that push. Then I ended up grabbing calls at 12.34, which is right here. It didn't break higher day. It came back down to VWAP, bounced up, had slow grind up. So when it came near higher day, that's where I grabbed 38.45 calls at 660, and they went from 660 to $8. Didn't quite break out, but it did get a quick little pop and got rejected. Then it came back down, making a higher low right here. I ended up grabbing calls again at 135, which is right here. Oh yeah, I remember this play. I grabbed calls at 135, which is right here, thinking that we were going to break out because we had a fake breakout right there. Pulled back down to the 20 EMA, bounced a little, thinking it was going to come back up. It didn't. I bought the 38.40 calls at $7. It dropped, and I got more at 238, which is right. Where did I get more? 238 right here when it came back up. I didn't grab it down here. For some reason, I thought I added it down here. I knew I added, but for some reason, I thought I added down here, but I didn't. So I initially got it right here. and it dropped, came back up, and this is where I averaged down. I added more at $5, making my new average $6, and then finally it popped, and they went from $6 to $9.70, so that ended up being a nice little play. So then I just called it a day because of the weather. So anyways, that is it for the recap. I know I probably rambled a lot. I probably said the wrong days half the video, but it is what it is. It's uncut and unedited. So that's going to do it for the recap. I hope this has helped. I know it's probably been confusing, and thanks for watching.